Hi, I'm Blair.
Hi, I'm Mel.
Hi, I'm Bella.
And I'm Mercer. And this is Sports and Social Media, the podcast. Social media has become the preferred method for fans to follow sports. I mean, with our generation's attention span, why would we sit through a whole game if we know the highlights are going to be posted online anyways?
To build off of that, most people who are already familiar with sports and gameplay may prefer a quick social media rundown on Instagram as opposed to a whole game they don't know nor care about learning the nitty-gritty of. I can tell you right now, I probably couldn't understand a football or basketball game all the way through.
Social media has also definitely opened the door for athletes to build their personal brands like never before. I mean, before the emergence of platforms like Instagram and TikTok, a lot of what an audience knew about an athlete and their character or personality came from things like post-game interviews or what brands they were partnering with. It was definitely a lot harder for audiences to connect deeper with their favorite athletes. And there's nothing today's audiences love more than a parasocial relationship. Social media just gives us a whole new lens to learn about athletes.
Yeah, no, the first person I think of when it comes to athletes as influencers is definitely Paige Beckers. I'd say I know the average amount about WNBA, but as a frequent user of TikTok, I always see her, and it's not just what she posts, but people making edits of her. Or I remember before she made her relationship with her teammate, KK Arnold, my feed was always flooded with people making speculation like they knew them personally. And one specifically popped up on my For You page where people were like zooming in on their phone wallpapers, trying to see if like theirs were of each other, and like just kept like talking about their relationship. And people want to know more about their athletes' lives, not just how they perform in their sport. I mean, two of the top 5 most followed people on Instagram are Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. Obviously, people are into them because of their talent, but it just kind of shows people are interested in athletes beyond what they see in a game.
For sure.
Yeah, the first person I thought of were Travis and Jason Kelce, because they kind of turned their personalities into podcasts and like media empires. Both of the brothers play in the NFL. Their podcast, New Heights, started as kind of a small side project, and then it quickly took off because many fans felt like connected to them with their opinions and humor. And they also use social media like TikTok and YouTube and Instagram to spread their podcasts and post viral clips. And then, as we know, recently Travis Kelce's relationship with Taylor Swift and them getting engaged kind of changed his influence worldwide. The Chiefs games broke records with viewerships, especially with younger women. And Taylor Swift came on the podcast and announced her new album this past, was it August or something? Which people kind of freaked out about.
Yeah, the Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift thing is kind of, I think, the perfect example of social media and sports colliding. I mean, not to make assumptions, but I think it's somewhat fair to say that a majority of Swift's fans weren't necessarily familiar with Kelce before their relationship blew up. And I mean, now he's been roped into all of the Swiftie craze, like you talked about. She announced her album on their podcast. They got engaged shortly after that podcast was filmed. And I mean, he literally came on stage with her and performed with her when she was touring in London. It was part of an act for her Tortured Poets Department album, and he picked her up on stage and they were doing this mime thing. Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
And I think even though Jason Kelce is retired from the NFL, he follows kind of a different influencer style. He is kind of known for being a relatable dad, and his wife, Kylie Kelce, has also kind of taken off recently, especially in the past 6 months with her own podcast. And he has some like viral moments. He's known for taking off his shirt and celebrating, and just like being crazy at the game. He's like a broadcast host or one of the hosts or something. And he's also like known for his retirement speech. It was so emotional. And he has kind of become an influencer outside of his entertainment.
Wait, was his wife on like Alex Cooper's podcast? So I saw that and I loved her.
I love Kylie. She's so funny. I also love that video of her when she's talking about like the Super Bowl prices, like with her kids, and talking about how they're paying like thousands of dollars for like their 3-year-old to like barely even sit in a seat to watch like their dad and uncle play football. Like she's a very like down to earth person, which I think is cool to see.
I figured it'd be cheap for that.
Yeah, I know, right?
But she also like gives him a lot of crap in like a funny way, because Jason, like when he was in the NFL, he would wear like a super nice suit or something, and then he'd wear flip-flops, and then it kind of became like this thing that people were following, and it kind of added to his like story.
Yeah, I feel like brands too are definitely utilizing this like newer public interest because athletes are no longer just partnering with sports brands like you would expect, like Nike and stuff, or creating tennis shoes. Obviously, that's still happening, but I feel like different brands are starting to branch out. And to bring this back to the WNBA, Candace Parker, Cameron Brink, Dejanay Carrington, Kelsey Plum, and Skylar Diggins-Smith, they partnered with Skims, which is Kim Kardashian's like underwear and athletic slash clothing brand, and they became the official underwear of the WNBA. And I'm sure it's shocking to no one that this partnership was met with lots of criticism and accusations of sexualizing the women in the ad, but Skims also partnered with the NBA too.
Yeah, there was also a controversy surrounding how the women's Skims ad was posted front and center on their like website page, but the men's ad wasn't. People kind of saw this as a way to sexualize women, but like, I don't know, people were coming up with all these conclusions about how these women felt, but like the women in the actual campaign didn't complain once. And this kind of brings me back to like a couple weeks ago, I was scrolling on my Instagram feed and there was like this Aaron Gordon like underwear ad, and he's like shirtless in like this like rather provocative way, like playing basketball in his underwear. And I looked at the comments and like there are no women sexualizing him, and it's kind of weird to see how the gender roles play out with like underwear campaign definitely like the NBA and WNBA. So I don't know, it was interesting to see.
Yeah, the women like liked being in those.
Right.
Like, they felt comfortable and they felt feminine, and like I think that's also true with basketball too, and like women's sports in general, when they get muscle or anything like that, and like they don't look as feminine as, you know, women who don't play sports do. They get a lot of hate comments or just criticism in general. So I think this was a really good chance for them to kind of like tap into that feminine side. And like it just made me kind of sad to see like how much hate they got.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly feel like this collaboration is exactly what audiences want to see. I mean, everybody wears underwear, and athletes, specifically female athletes, need underwear that they can be comfortable and active with. And Diggins-Smith said it herself in an interview saying, "I love fashion, but more importantly, it's essential for me to feel comfortable in every facet of my life. As a mother with a very active career, Skims provides solutions for me that are seamless, stretchy, and stylish." And this partner just shows that athletes are humans too, and it goes back to that connection on a more personal level the audiences are really itching for.
Yeah, I mean, in the day of athletes being influencers, I feel like in a way, sometimes we kind of lose the vanity of them being a star because we just see them as an influencer now. I don't know, it's like kind of a gray area whether this is a good thing or not, seeing like all these athletes in all these specific ads that we're not necessarily used to seeing them in. I think in a way it's good because it allows us as viewers to humanize celebrities. Like Blair just said, everybody wears underwear. And like, I don't know, it's a way for us to see them as people that we've never really seen before. There's a good and bad side to everything, and I think within this topic, we kind of just have to be subjective and know that everybody kind of views it a little bit differently. So yeah.
No, exactly. And that kind of like goes along with the Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark situation too, because nobody has been humanizing them. They just like consider them like these random people that have no emotions, no feelings. And like in 2023 at the NCAA championship, both of the athletes, like basketball is one of the most competitive sports there is. And like they were just kind of like chirping at each other. And even though both players were doing the same kind of mannerisms, Reese did get the brunt of all of the backlash and was labeled as classless and unsportsmanlike. And the reason that this is kind of crazy is because even Rice University did a study on it, and it showed that it had a lot to do with racial bias, and we still see it so much today, even with all the progress we thought we made. Even though, like, I agree, Reese has been, like, disrespectful and super vocal after wins and losses, I do think that a lot of the hate she's received has been out of hand.
Yeah, obviously social media is home to a lot of hate, especially towards Black women in sports. Serena Williams has been a victim of this too. In 2018, during the U.S. Open final, she found herself at the center of a huge controversy that completely changed the tone of the match and honestly the conversation around women in sports. Basically, she was accused of coaching, which is essentially cheating, by the umpire after her coach gave her a thumbs up from the stands. And she walked over to the umpire and told him, "I don't cheat to win, I'd rather lose." And then later in the match, when she was down in the second set and clearly frustrated, she smashed her racket on the court, which is something we see plenty of tennis players do. I feel like it's kind of common. But the umpire hit her with another code violation, which cost her a point. She argued again, calling him a thief for taking that point away, and that one word triggered a third code violation and a full game penalty. Yeah, so in the end, her opponent, Naomi Osaka, won her first Grand Slam title, but this victory was completely overshadowed by the chaos, and serious news stations were calling her reaction a meltdown or saying she had lost her cool. And the whole thing just kind of raised big questions about bias, emotion, and the double standard that women, especially Black women, face in sports.
Yeah, and going along with that, I'm pretty positive she got like a big fine too, that she had to pay for smashing her racket. I also think that Livy Dunn is a person to kind of focus on because she's one of the most followed college athletes in the country with millions of followers across her platforms like TikTok and Instagram. And she kind of changed what it means to be a college athlete. She kind of used her digital platform and changed it into a multi-million-dollar brand. Her content is behind the scenes of gymnastics practice, but she also posts videos about fashion and beauty and kind of all the trends that happen. And she started dating a baseball player. Do you guys remember his name?
Paul Skeens. He's on the Pirates team, and I'm from Pittsburgh, so that is like, oh my god, it's sad.
But like she's partnered with Viore and American Eagle to kind of like make more money, but she's kind of faced some backlash. I know a few years back posted pictures and like edited them and people didn't like that. So I don't know.
Yeah, with that said, this reminds me of something that happened a couple years ago, my freshman year. Some guy friends of mine drove to a gymnastics meet to see Libby Dunn, just like to watch her perform. And that like completely threw me for a loop because these boys 100% found her on TikTok and went to a sporting event that they had little to no interest in simply because she was like a hot social media sensation. I feel like this kind of thing makes you wonder if people really care about the sport or if social media has influenced everything.
Exactly. So that kind of wraps up today's episode. Thanks for being with us, guys.
Thank you.
Yes, next time.